Commander Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge of the research vessel Discovery. She stared at the screens showing Earth below. The blue planet turned slowly in space. It was another normal day until the alarm started beeping. "Commander, we have an incoming signal," said her communications officer, Paul Davis. "It's not from Earth." Lisa turned quickly. "Put it on the main screen." The screen filled with strange symbols and sounds. Then it changed to show a face. The being had blue skin and silver eyes. Its head was larger than a human's. "Greetings, primitive species," the being said. Its voice was deep and cold. "I am Ambassador Crixtel of the Zalathi Empire. We have been watching your world. We wish to meet." Lisa took a deep breath. This was humanity's first contact with aliens. She had trained for this moment. "Welcome, Ambassador Crixtel. I am Commander Lisa Morgan of Earth. We are honored by your contact." Crixtel's thin lips curved into what might have been a smile. "You speak well for a primitive. We will arrive at your station in one rotation of your planet. Prepare a meeting place." The screen went dark. Lisa looked at her crew. They all had the same shocked expression. "Did he just call us primitive?" asked Dr. Ben Carter, the ship's lead scientist. "3 times, Lisa replied. "Paul, contact Earth Command. Tell them we have visitors coming." The next day, the Zalathi ship appeared near Earth's orbital station. It was huge, 10 times bigger than any human vessel. Its hull was smooth and silver, with no visible weapons or engines. Lisa waited in the station's formal dining room with her team. Dr. Ben Carter stood beside her, holding his datapad. Security Chief Mike Nelson watched the doors. They all wore their best uniforms. The doors opened. Ambassador Crixtel entered with 4 other Zalathi. They were all 7 feet tall with blue skin and silver eyes. They wore flowing white robes with strange symbols. "Ambassador Crixtel, welcome to Earth Station 1, Lisa said, bowing slightly. Crixtel looked around the room. His eyes showed no emotion. "Quaint," he said. "Your technology is amusing, like children playing with toys." Lisa kept her smile. "We are still learning. Please join us for dinner." They sat at the long table. Human servers brought out Earth's best food. Crixtel picked at his plate with long fingers. "Tell me, Commander," Crixtel said, "how long have your people been in space?" "About 200 years, Lisa answered. Crixtel laughed. It sounded like breaking glass. 200? We have traveled the stars for 50,000 years. We control 12 star systems." "Impressive," Lisa said calmly. "Your faster-than-light drive," Crixtel continued, "is adorable, like a child's first bicycle. And your weapons." He shook his head. "We scanned your ships, projectile weapons and nuclear missiles. How primitive." Dr. Carter typed notes on his pad. His face stayed neutral, but Lisa saw his jaw tighten. "We would love to learn from your civilization," Lisa said carefully. "Of course you would," Crixtel replied. "That is why we are here. The Zalathi Empire believes in helping lesser species. You may visit our homeworld. See what a proper civilization looks like." Mike Nelson shifted in his seat. Lisa shot him a warning look. "We would be honored," Lisa said. Crixtel stood. "Good. We leave in 7 of your days. Bring your best scientists. Try not to touch anything important." He looked around the room one more time. Such a quaint little station, like a dollhouse. The Zalathi left without saying goodbye. Lisa's team sat in silence. "Well," Ben finally said. "That went well. He called us primitive 12 times, Mike growled. "I counted." Lisa stood up. "It doesn't matter what he thinks. We just made first contact, and now we get to see their world." She looked at her team. "Let's show them what these primitives can do." But in her heart, Lisa wondered what they were getting into. The Zalathi seemed too confident, too dismissive. Something about Crixtel's attitude worried her. She was right to worry. Image description for Leonardo AI. A tall alien ambassador with bright blue skin and glowing silver eyes wearing flowing white robes with geometric symbols stands in a futuristic space station dining room. The alien is 7 feet tall with an elongated head and thin lips curved in a condescending smile. Behind him are human officers in military uniforms looking small in comparison. The room has large windows showing Earth in space. The aliens' posture is arrogant and dismissive while the humans maintain professional composure. Sci-fi setting, dramatic lighting, photorealistic style. The human ship Phoenix looked tiny next to the massive Zalathi vessel. Lisa Morgan stood on the bridge with her team. Dr. Ben Carter checked his instruments. Engineer Jake Rodriguez studied the alien ship's design. Linguist Amy Chen practiced Zalathi phrases. "Their ship is beautiful," Jake whispered. "No visible engines, no weapon ports. How does it even move?" "We'll find out," Lisa said. "Remember, we're here to learn. Stay humble, stay quiet, and observe everything." The Phoenix docked with the Zalathi ship. Crixtel waited for them in a grand hallway. The walls glowed with soft blue light. Everything looked perfect, too perfect. "Welcome, primitives," Crixtel said. His silver eyes showed amusement. "Your little ship made it. I am surprised," Lisa smiled politely. "Thank you for the invitation, Ambassador. Come, we will show you what real technology looks like." Crixtel turned and walked away. His white robes floated behind him. They followed him through corridors that seemed to go on forever. Other Zalathi passed by, all tall and blue-skinned. They looked at the humans like people look at animals in a zoo. The jump to Zelath Prime took only minutes. The humans felt nothing. No vibration, no sound. One moment they were near Earth, the next they orbited a golden planet. "Impossible," Jake muttered. "That was 1,000 light years in 3 minutes. Crixtel heard him. "Nothing is impossible. For the Zalathi. Your species will understand in a few million years, maybe." Zelath Prime was breathtaking. Cities floated in the sky. Towers reached into space. Rivers of light connected everything. Millions of Zalathi flew between buildings using small devices on their backs. "Behold our capital," Crixtel said proudly. "One of 12 worlds we control. Each one perfect. Each one ours." They landed on a platform high above the ground. A group of Zalathi officials waited for them. One stepped forward. He wore black robes with gold symbols. "I am Zorhan, military." "Commander," he said. His voice was harder than Crixtel's. "I see the primitives have arrived. Commander Zorhan oversees our defensive forces," Crixtel explained. "Not that we need them. No one would dare attack the Zalathi." Zorhan studied the humans coldly. "Earth has some weapons, yes? Nuclear bombs, projectiles?" He laughed. "How cute." They entered a vast building. Inside, Zalathi worked with holographic displays. Energy fields held objects in the air. Machines created matter from nothing. "This is our technology center," Crixtel said. "We convert energy directly into matter. We bend space. We control gravity." He pointed to a small device. "That could power your entire planet for a century." Ben Carter's eyes were wide. He took notes frantically. Amy Chen recorded everything with a small camera. Jake Rodriguez looked carefully at the energy readings on his hidden scanner. Something bothered him. The numbers didn't match what Crixtel was saying. "Your shield systems?" Jake asked carefully. "They protect the entire planet?" "Of course," Crixtel said. "Nothing can penetrate them. We have made war obsolete. Well, for us, primitive species still fight like animals." Jake noticed odd fluctuations in the shield readings, tiny gaps that appeared and disappeared. He said nothing but kept scanning. They visited more wonders. A medical center that could cure any disease, transportation that moved instantly between continents, food synthesizers that created perfect meals from air. "You see?" Crixtel said as they stood on an observation deck. "This is what a proper civilization looks like. Earth is like a child's playground compared to this." "Very impressive," Lisa said. She had said those words 100 times today. "Tomorrow you will meet our science council," Crixtel announced. "They are curious about primitive brains. How you manage space travel with such limited intelligence fascinates them." That night, the humans gathered in their quarters on the Phoenix. They were quiet for a long time. Did anyone else notice the shield fluctuations? Jake finally asked. I saw them, Ben confirmed. And their matter converters aren't as efficient as they claim. They're hiding something, Amy added. The language they use when talking to each other is different, more worried. Lisa nodded. Keep observing. Something doesn't feel right about this perfect empire. Outside their window, Zelath Prime glowed in space, beautiful, powerful, and arrogant. The humans had seen enough to be impressed. They had also seen enough to be suspicious. Image description for Leonardo AI. A breathtaking alien cityscape with floating golden cities connected by streams of light. Massive towers pierce through clouds, reaching into space. In the foreground, a group of small humans in simple uniforms stand on an observation platform looking tiny compared to 7-foot-tall blue-skinned aliens in flowing white and black robes. The aliens gesture condescendingly at their technology, while the humans observe carefully. Flying Zelathi with anti-gravity devices zoom between buildings. The sky is purple-golden with multiple moons visible. Futuristic sci-fi setting. Majestic yet imposing atmosphere. Photorealistic style. The Galactic Council chamber was enormous. Representatives from 50 different species sat in floating seats arranged in circles. Lisa Morgan and her team sat in the section marked for Observer Species. They felt very small. Crixtel stood in the center, his white robes glowing under the strange lights. Other Zelathi delegates flanked him, all looking confident and superior. The council recognizes Ambassador Crixtel of the Zelathi Empire, announced a crystalline being that seemed to be made of living light. Thank you, Chairman, Crixtel said. We come with news. The Zelathi Empire has made contact with a new primitive species, the humans of Earth. Murmurs rippled through the chamber. Some aliens looked interested, others looked worried. We have evaluated their technology, Crixtel continued. They are harmless, barely capable of local space travel, still using chemical, rockets and nuclear weapons. He laughed. They think they are advanced. A scarred reptilian alien stood up. Its scales were dark green with burn marks. I am Captain Vraktor of the Vrokan fleet, or what remains of it. The chamber grew quiet. Ben Carter leaned forward, interested. 50 cycles ago, Vraktor said, we encountered a primitive species. They had basic space travel, simple weapons. We laughed at them, just as you laugh at these humans. Crixtel waved a hand dismissively. The Vrokans were careless. We are not. Were we? Vraktor's eyes narrowed. That primitive species destroyed our entire fleet in one rotation. 60,000 ships turned to dust. They used weapons we didn't understand, methods we couldn't predict. Fairy tales, scoffed Commander Zorhan, who stood beside Crixtel. No primitive species could defeat a star empire. Another alien stood. This one looked like a giant insect with rainbow wings. The Hive remembers. We too met primitives who surprised us. They looked weak. They were not. And where are these mighty primitives now? Crixtel asked mockingly. Gone, the insect said quietly. They destroyed themselves after defeating us, but not before teaching us humility. Lisa felt a chill. She glanced at Jake, who was recording everything. An ancient-looking alien with gray skin and 6 eyes spoke from the highest tier. The Zelathi should listen. We have seen this pattern before. Species that seem primitive often hide great power, especially those who survive on death worlds. Earth is a death world, Amy whispered to Ben. Class 4, he whispered back. Very dangerous by galactic standards. Crixtel laughed again. Earth? A death world? They have one sun, one moon, and breathable air. How dangerous could it be? They have earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, the gray alien listed. Predators, diseases, ice ages. Yet they thrived. This suggests resilience. Resilience is not power, Zorhan declared. The humans are children playing with fire. Nothing more. Captain, Vraktor stepped forward. You are making a mistake. These humans, I have studied their history. Constant warfare. They split atoms for weapons. They went to space not for exploration, but for military advantage. Exactly, Crixtel said. They are violent primitives, which is why the Zalathi Empire will classify Earth as a protectorate, for their own good. The chamber erupted in discussion. Lisa stood up. May I speak? Crixtel looked amused. The primitive wishes to address the council. How entertaining. Proceed. Lisa kept her voice calm. Humanity seeks peaceful relations with all species. We wish to learn and grow. We have no desire for conflict. Of course not, Crixtel said. Which is why you need our protection. We will establish bases on Earth. Guide your development. In a few thousand years, you might become truly civilized. That sounds like occupation, not protection, Lisa said carefully. Zorhan's eyes flashed. You dare question the Zalathi Empire? I simply seek clarification, Lisa replied. The crystalline chairman intervened. The council will consider this matter. Observer species have no vote, but their voices are heard. As they left the chamber, Vraktor approached Lisa. His scarred face was serious. Your people are in danger. The Zalathi will take your freedom. Fight them and they will destroy you. And if we don't fight? Lisa asked. Then you will be slaves forever. Vraktor looked at the Zalathi delegates walking away. They have forgotten what desperation can create. My people learned too late. He turned to leave, then stopped. One more thing. The primitives who destroyed us? They looked just like you. That night, Lisa sent an encrypted message to Earth. The Zalathi planned to make humanity their subjects. Earth had 6 months to prepare. She hoped it would be enough. Image description for Leonardo AI. A massive circular alien council chamber with floating seats arranged in tiers. In the center, a tall blue-skinned alien in white robes addresses dozens of different alien species. Crystalline beings, reptilian creatures with scars, giant insects with rainbow wings, and gray six-eyed elders. A small group of humans in simple uniform sits in the observer section looking tiny compared to the other beings. The chamber has holographic star maps floating above and strange geometric lighting. The atmosphere is tense and political. Sci-fi setting, dramatic lighting, photorealistic style showing the diversity of alien species. 6 months passed quickly. Earth tried to prepare, but what could they do against the Zalathi Empire? Still, humans did what they always did. They got ready to fight. 3 massive Zalathi dreadnoughts appeared near Earth without warning. Each ship was the size of a city. They hung in space like silver mountains, blocking out the stars. People of Earth. Crixtel's voice echoed from every screen on the planet. The Zalathi Empire has come to protect you. Surrender your weapons. Accept our bases. Become part of our glorious empire. In the United Earth Congress, President Maria Santos stood firm. Ambassador Crixtel, Earth declines your offer. We will govern ourselves. The response came quickly. Primitives cannot govern. You need guidance. You have 1 hour to reconsider. That hour felt like a lifetime. On Luna Colony, 50,000 people went about their daily lives. Families ate dinner. Children played in the dome parks. Workers maintained the life support systems. When the hour ended, Crixtel spoke again. You have chosen poorly. A single beam of light shot from the lead dreadnought. It hit Luna Colony directly. The dome cracked. Air rushed out. Buildings crumbled. In 30 seconds, 50,000 humans were dead. On Earth, people watched in horror. Children cried. Adults stood in shocked silence. The moon now had a black scar where the colony had been. That was a warning. Crixtel announced. Submit, or we will destroy your cities one by one. In a hidden bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Karen Williams turned to her staff. Activate Protocol 7. Admiral, her aide said, are you sure? They killed 50,000 civilians, she replied coldly. Activate it now. Across the solar system, things began to move. Asteroids that had floated for millions of years split open. Hidden weapons platforms emerged. Ships that looked like old cargo vessels dropped their disguises, revealing advanced warships. The Zalathi didn't notice at first. They were too busy congratulating themselves. On the bridge of his dreadnought, Crixtel smiled. "You see, Zorhan? One demonstration and—" They fall silent. Primitives always fear superior power. Zorhan nodded. "Should we destroy another colony?" "Not yet. Let them think about their fate. Fear is a powerful teacher. But humans weren't thinking about fear. They were thinking about revenge." The first strike came from Mars. A hidden railgun buried under red sand for 20 years fired a projectile at half the speed of light. It hit the rear dreadnought's shield. The shield flickered. "What was that?" Crixtel demanded. "Unknown projectile," a technician reported. "Shields held." "From where?" "Mars, Ambassador. But scans show nothing there." Then the second strike came, and the third. Railguns hidden throughout the system opened fire. Each shot was precisely aimed at the same shield frequencies Jake Rodriguez had secretly scanned on Zelath Prime. "Shields at 90%, the technician said. Then 80%, 70. "Ambassador, the shields are failing." "Impossible." Crixtel stood up. "Primitive weapons cannot breach our shields." But they could. And they did. The asteroid belt came alive. Hundreds of small human ships painted black to hide in space swarmed out. They weren't pretty like Zalathi vessels. They were ugly, functional, and deadly. "Where did these ships come from?" Zorhan shouted. "Our scans showed nothing." The human ships fired missiles. Not normal missiles, but something new. They passed through the weakened shields like they weren't there. They hit the dreadnought's hull and burrowed inside before exploding. Hull. "Breach on decks 7 through 15, someone screamed. More human ships appeared from behind Jupiter's moons, from inside Saturn's rings, from dark corners of space where they had waited, silent and patient. "Return fire," Crixtel ordered. The Zalathi weapons were powerful. Each beam could level a city. But the human ships were fast and small. They moved in random patterns, impossible to predict. For every one destroyed, 3 more appeared. "Ambassador," the lead technician said, his blue face pale with fear. "The rear dreadnought. It's gone." Crixtel turned to see empty space where a ship had been. Debris floated where millions of tons of Zalathi technology had existed moments before. "How?" he whispered. The answer came from Earth. Admiral Williams appeared on their screens. Her face was cold as winter. "You killed our children," she said simply. "Now learn what primitives do when you hurt their young." The second dreadnought exploded. Nuclear. Jake Rodriguez stood in Earth's secret research facility. Around him, teams of scientists studied captured Zalathi technology. The walls were covered with holographic displays showing shield frequencies and weapon designs. "We found it," Jake announced to the gathered leaders. "Every Zalathi shield has the same flaw, a frequency gap that appears every 12 seconds. Admiral Karen Williams leaned forward. "Can we exploit it?" "Better than that," Jake smiled. "We can turn their shields into prisons. They'll trap the Zalathi inside their own defenses." President Maria Santos looked at the War Council. "What about their colonies, their fleet?" "That's the beauty of it," Jake explained. "We don't need to destroy anything. Watch this." He pressed a button. A small Zalathi device on the table flickered and died. Electromagnetic pulse, but specifically tuned. It only affects Zalathi technology. "You're suggesting we disable their entire empire?" Williams asked. "Every weapon, every shield, every ship." Jake's eyes were hard. "They'll be helpless but alive. We're not like them. We don't kill civilians." Within days, Operation Nemesis was ready. Earth's fleet no longer hiding, assembled near Jupiter. But these weren't warships in the traditional sense. They carried no bombs, no missiles, just Jake's special EMP generators. The first target was the Zalathi border station at Proxima Centauri. Captain Susan Harper commanded the lead ship. "Remember," she told her crew, "we disable and leave. No unnecessary destruction." The human ships appeared from hyperspace. The Zalathi station immediately raised shields and powered weapons. "They're hailing us," the communications officer reported. On screen, a Zalathi commander appeared. "Primitive vessels, you dare enter Zalathi space? We will destroy you as we destroyed your moon colony." Harper didn't respond. She simply nodded. To her weapons officer. "Fire." The EMP pulse was invisible. It passed through the shield gap and spread through the station like a virus. Lights flickered. Consoles died. The mighty shields collapsed. "What's happening?" the Zalathi commander screamed. Then his image vanished as communications failed. The station floated helpless. Life support still worked. Humans had made sure of that. But every weapon, every shield, every engine was dead forever. "Next target," Harper ordered. Across the Zalathi Empire, the same scene repeated. Human ships appeared, fired their special weapons and left. No explosions, no deaths. Just technology dying quietly. On Zalath Prime, panic spread. Reports flooded in from across their empire. Military bases helpless. Fleets drifting in space. Defensive platforms useless. Crixtel, who had barely escaped Earth, stood before the Zalathi High Council. "The primitives have some kind of weapon. It targets our technology specifically." "Impossible," said the science minister. "Primitives cannot create such things." As if to mock his words, the lights in the council chamber flickered. Through the windows, they watched the planetary shield flash and disappear. "They're here," someone whispered. Human ships filled the sky above Zalath Prime, but they didn't attack. They simply flew in precise formations, disabling every military installation. The Zalathi watched their empire's power vanish in silence. Jake Rodriguez himself led the team to the main power station. The Zalathi guards stood helpless, their weapons dead metal in their hands. "Please," one begged. "We have children, families." "No," Jake said. "That's why you're still alive. We're not monsters. We're just removing your ability to be monsters." He placed the final EMP device on the power core. The entire military network of Zalath Prime went dark. In one day, the Empire, that had conquered 12 systems, couldn't power a single weapon. But civilian systems remained untouched. Hospitals still functioned. Homes still had light. Food synthesizers still worked. Humans had been surgically precise. Commander Zorhan found himself in the strangest position of his life. The most feared military leader in the galaxy now commanded nothing but dead metal. "How?" he asked Jake as human soldiers secured the command center. "How did primitives defeat the Zalathi Empire?" Jake looked at him sadly. "You never understood. Earth seems primitive because we hide our strength. We learned long ago that showing power invites challenge. Better to appear weak and be strong. But why spare us? We killed your people." "Because we're human," Jake replied. "We can choose mercy. That's what makes us different from you." Across 12 star systems, the Zalathi Empire discovered they were no longer an empire. They were just people, like everyone else. Their subjects began to rebel, knowing their masters had no weapons to stop them. Earth's message was clear. "We could have destroyed you, but we chose not to. Remember this mercy. Remember who the real primitives were." Image description for Leonardo AI. A massive space scene showing human ships with special EMP generators hovering over Zalath Prime's golden cities. Blue energy pulses spread like webs across Zalathi military installations while civilian areas remain lit and untouched. Zalathi soldiers stand helpless with dead weapons as human troops in advanced but practical armor secure buildings. The planetary shield flickers and dies in the sky. Multiple human vessels in formation cast shadows over the alien city. The scene shows precision and restraint rather than destruction. Sci-fi setting, strategic military operation, photorealistic, style showing the moment an empire falls without violence. The fall of the Zalathi Empire happened faster than anyone expected. Without weapons or shields, they could no longer control their conquered worlds. The news spread like wildfire across the galaxy. The mighty Zalathi were defenseless. On Kravos III, the reptilian slaves who had served the Zalathi for centuries rose up, They stormed the governor's palace with simple tools and farming equipment. The Zalathi guards could only watch, their energy weapons now useless metal. For 200 years, you made us work your minds, the rebel leader hissed. Now it's over. The same scene played out on dozens of worlds. The Thorani, the Melody, the Yavari, all the species the Zalathi had conquered now tasted freedom. Some were peaceful in their revolution. Others were not. Crixtel stood on his balcony, watching smoke rise from the capital city. Riots had broken out 3 days ago. Without military drones to maintain order, the Zalathi police couldn't control millions of angry former subjects. Ambassador, his aide whispered, the Vrock fleet has entered our system. Crixtel closed his eyes. He knew what this meant. Captain Vraktor had warned him at the Galactic Council. Now the Vrokans came for revenge. More fleets arrived daily. The Zalathi had made many enemies over 50,000 years. Now those enemies circled like hungry. Predators, can we contact Earth? Crixtel asked desperately. Perhaps they will help? His aide shook his head. All long-range communications are down. The humans were very thorough. In the council chambers, panic reigned. Ministers shouted over each other. Some wanted to negotiate. Others talked of rebuilding their weapons. But without their technology, they were just voices in the wind. Zorhan entered, no longer wearing his military uniform. What was the point? He commanded nothing now. The Skorian fleet demands our surrender, he announced. They want to put us on trial for war crimes. War crimes? A minister cried. We brought order to the galaxy. We brought slavery, Zorhan said quietly. I see that now. Outside, the first Vrock ships entered the atmosphere. They didn't have the advanced weapons the Zalathi once feared. They didn't need them. Simple kinetic bombardment would work fine against defenseless cities. Evacuate the capital, someone shouted. Flee to the countryside. But where could they run? Every conquered species wanted revenge. The Zalathi had shown no mercy for 50,000 years. Why would they receive any now? Refugees packed the spaceports. Families grabbed what they could carry. Children cried as parents pushed them onto overcrowded ships. The proud Zalathi Empire was reduced to scared people running for their lives. Where will we go? A mother asked, holding her small daughter. Anywhere, her husband replied. Just away from here. Ships lifted off by the thousands. Some headed for the outer colonies, hoping to find safety. Others aimed for deep space, becoming wanderers among the stars. The lucky ones left before the blockades arrived. Crixtel watched his people flee. The great cities emptied. The floating towers, symbols of Zalathi superiority, stood abandoned. In the technology centers where miracles once happened, scattered papers blew in the wind. This is how empires die, he said to no one. Not in glorious battle, but in fear and chaos. His aide tugged his sleeve. Ambassador, we must leave. The last ship waits. Crixtel took one final look at his world. Explosions bloomed in the distance as the Vrock began their bombardment. The golden cities that had stood for millennia would soon be rubble. They ran through empty streets. Once, Zalathi would have flown using personal gravity units. Now they used their legs like the primitives they had mocked. At the spaceport, chaos reigned. Thousands pushed toward the final transport. Guards tried to maintain order, but without stun weapons, they were overwhelmed. Make way for the ambassador, his aide shouted. No one cared. In the end, titles meant nothing. They were all just refugees now. Crixtel managed to board, squeezed between crying families and frightened officials. As the ship lifted off, he looked through a small window. Zeloth Prime burned below. The empire that had lasted 50,000 years was ending in days. Where are we going? Someone asked the pilot. I don't know, came the reply. Away. That's all. The refugee fleet drifted through empty space. Hundreds of ships, once proud vessels of the Zalathi Empire, now overcrowded with desperate families. They had been traveling for weeks without direction or hope. Crixtel sat in a cargo hold with thousands of others. The great ambassador who once wore silk robes now shared floor space with farmers and workers. His clothes were torn and dirty. His silver eyes had lost their arrogant shine. "Water rations are running low," someone announced. "Half portions from now on." Children cried. Parents held them close, unable to promise everything would be okay. The air smelled of fear and unwashed bodies. "Where can we go?" an old Zalathi asked. "Every world hates us." "There must be somewhere," another replied. "Some planet that will take us." But they all knew the truth. For 50,000 years the Zalathi had conquered and enslaved. Now the galaxy wanted revenge. Every port turned them away. Every system closed its borders. On the bridge of the lead ship, Captain Threll looked at star charts with tired eyes. He had tried 17 systems, all rejected them. Some fired warning shots, others simply activated defense grids. "Captain," his navigator said, "we're running out of fuel. The fleet can make one more jump, maybe two. Any responses to our distress calls?" "None, sir. The galaxy is silent." Threll rubbed his face. Once he commanded a battle cruiser with weapons that could crack moons. Now he led a fleet of beggars. In the medical bay, Dr. Kess worked without rest. Disease spread quickly in overcrowded ships. Children got sick first. Without proper medicine, she could only make them comfortable. "We've lost 12 more today," her assistant reported. Kess closed her eyes. Back home, their medical centers could cure any disease. Here, people died from simple infections. Days passed. Food ran lower. Hope disappeared completely. Then suddenly proximity alarms sounded. "Ships approaching," the scanner officer announced. "Configuration unknown." On screen, sleek vessels appeared. They weren't the angular warships of the Vrak, or the crystalline craft of the Illuminated. These were simple, functional, human ships. "They're hailing us," communications reported. Lisa Morgan appeared on screen. She wore the same uniform from their first meeting, but her eyes were different. Harder. Sadder. "Ambassador Crixtel," she said. "I hear you're looking for sanctuary." Crixtel was brought to the bridge. He barely looked like the proud ambassador, who had called humans primitive. His blue skin was pale. His robes were refugee rags. "Commander Morgan," he whispered. "Please, we have nowhere else to go." "I remember our first meeting," Lisa said. "You called us primitive, said we needed your protection. I was wrong." Tears ran down Crixtel's face. So wrong. Lisa was quiet for a long moment. Around her, human officers watched with unreadable expressions. "How many refugees?" she finally asked. 3 million, Captain Threll answered. "More coming every day." "Children?" "Many. They're dying. We have no medicine, little food." Lisa turned to someone off-screen. Voices murmured. The Zalathi waited, hope and fear mixing in their hearts. "We've prepared camps on Mars," Lisa announced. "Basic facilities, not luxurious but clean, safe, with medical care and food." Crixtel's legs almost gave out. You'll take us?" "Conditions apply," Lisa continued. "No weapons allowed. You'll work for your keep. Your children will attend our schools. You'll follow our laws." "Yes," Crixtel said immediately. "Anything, please." "One more thing," Lisa's voice hardened. "You'll tell your story, all of it. The galaxy needs to know what happens to empires built on arrogance." "I'll tell everyone," Crixtel promised. "I'll spend my life teaching the lesson." Lisa nodded. "Follow. These coordinates. Medical ships are standing by." As the transmission ended, cheers broke out on the Zalathi vessels. People hugged. Children stopped crying. They had found sanctuary in the most unlikely place. The primitive world they had mocked would be their salvation. But Crixtel didn't celebrate. He understood the real message. Earth wasn't just showing mercy. They were showing the galaxy something deeper. True strength meant choosing compassion over revenge. "Set course for Mars," Captain Threll ordered. The refugee fleet turned toward Sol system, toward Earth, toward the primitives who had proven themselves anything but. In the cargo hold, Families shared the news. Mars, safety, hope. Some cried with relief. Others prayed to gods they'd forgotten. The mighty Zalathi Empire was gone. In its place, 3 million refugees dependent on human mercy. The tables hadn't just turned. They'd been completely overturned, and in a quiet corner, Crixtel began composing his message to the galaxy, a warning wrapped in humility, a lesson paid for in suffering. Never underestimate the primitives. Image description for Leonardo AI. A massive Zalathi refugee fleet of battered ships drifts through space approaching Mars. The ships are overcrowded with blue-skinned aliens visible through windows. Human vessels escort them, sleek and functional compared to the damaged refugee ships. Mars glows red in the distance with visible dome settlements. On the bridge, a disheveled Crixtel in torn robes speaks with Lisa Morgan on a view screen. Desperate, Zalathi families huddle in cargo holds. The scene shows the role reversal, the once mighty empire now seeking mercy from those they called primitive. Emotional sci-fi scene, photorealistic style. Refugee Camp Delta 7 sat in the red dust of Mars. Thousands of white domes spread across the Martian valley, each one holding Zalathi families who once lived in floating palaces. The camp was clean and organized but simple, nothing like the luxury they had known. Crixtel stood in the communications center. His blue hands shook slightly as he prepared the recording equipment. Today, he would send his message to the galaxy. The message Earth required. The message he needed to send. "Are you ready, Ambassador?" asked the human technician. She was young, maybe 20 Earth years, but she treated him with respect, more respect than he had shown humans. "Not Ambassador anymore," Crixtel corrected. "Just Crixtel, a teacher now." He wore simple gray clothes provided by the camp. His silver eyes looked directly at the camera. Behind him, through the window, other Zalathi worked in the gardens. They were learning to grow food, something servants had always done for them. "Begin recording," the technician said. Crixtel took a deep breath. "I am Crixtel, former ambassador of the Zalathi Empire. I send this message from Refugee Camp Delta 7 on Mars, the 4th planet of the Sol system. The system belonging to the Abite humans, the ones we called primitive." He paused, gathering his thoughts. "The Zalathi Empire is gone. Our fleets are destroyed. Our worlds are taken. Our people are scattered. We who ruled 12 systems now live in refugee camps, dependent on human mercy." Through the window, he saw children playing. Zalathi and human children together, kicking, a ball in the low Martian gravity. They laughed the same way. "I must tell you what happened. Not the facts, those you know, but the truth. We were arrogant. We believed technology made us superior. We saw humans as primitives because they hid their strength." His voice grew stronger as he continued. "The humans could have destroyed us. When they disabled our weapons, our fleets were helpless. They could have taken revenge for Luna Colony. 50,000 of their people died by our hands." He looked, down then back at the camera. "Instead, they chose mercy. They gave us food when we were starving, medicine when we were sick, shelter when the galaxy turned its back. The primitives we mocked became our saviors." Outside, adult Zalathi worked alongside human supervisors. They were building new domes, expanding the camp for more refugees. Working with their hands, something the former masters had never done. I teach in the camp school now. Human and Zalathi children together. I tell them about the Empire. Not the glory we imagined, but the truth. How we fell because we forgot that strength comes in many forms. He held up a small device. "This is a human teaching tool. A simple computer that connects to their network. It has access to more knowledge than our great libraries. But they don't boast about it. They share it freely. Even with us." Crixtel's voice became urgent. "Listen to my warning, all who receive this message. Never judge a species by what they show you. Never assume quiet means weak. Never mistake kindness for inability." He stood up, moving closer to the camera. "The humans have a saying, walk softly and carry a big stick. We saw them walking softly. We never imagined the stick. When we threatened, they're children, we learned. Through the window, a human doctor treated a sick Zealot the Elder, the same care they gave their own people. Earth didn't become advanced by conquering others. They became advanced by surviving, by adapting, by choosing when to fight and when to forgive. That is true evolution. He sat back down. I called Earth primitive. I was the primitive one. Primitive in thought. Primitive in wisdom. Primitive in understanding what civilization really means. The setting sun turned the Martian sky purple. Lights came on in the domes. Another day in the refugee camp, another day of human mercy. My people are learning. We work, we study, we contribute. Someday, the Galactic Council says, we might have a colony world. Start again. Do better. He smiled slightly, the first time in months. Our children play with human children. They learn together. Maybe they will build something better than empires. Maybe they will build understanding. Crixtel reached for the stop button, then paused. One last thing. If you meet humans, remember this. They choose mercy, but they don't choose it from weakness. They choose it